Chapter 31 Slavery. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 31 Slave Nature. Zhou Yi was startled and looked at Fanyu, who was rushing towards her quickly. A look of horror flashed in her eyes and she said to herself, although she was shocked, she also reacted quickly and mobilized her soul power. She was actually planning to take the blow directly. Humph! Fanyu was very fast. In just a few breaths, he came to Zhou Yi, who was full of soul power. Zhou Yi sneered, a trace of cruelty flashed in her eyes, soul power surged, and her arms were full of rich soul power light, as if it was penetrating her body. She believed that if Fanyu took this blow head-on, he would be seriously injured. Fanyu did not obey her orders now, and he would not become her student if he stayed, so he was no longer useful to her. Since there was no way to reconcile between the two, there was no need to hold back. It was a good opportunity to destroy him, then he would be expelled from the academy directly. I guess the academy would not offend her, an excellent teacher, for a waste. I am doing this for the good of the academy, Zhou Yi thought to herself. Having made up his mind, Zhou Yi's face turned cold, and he used both hands to attack Fanyu with all his strength. I will destroy you today. A flash of murderous intent flashed in Zhou Yi's eyes, which was clearly captured by Fanyu's Sharingan. Do you have murderous intent towards me? Swish. Sharingan. Fanyu's eyes shone with scarlet light, and Zhou Yi looked over subconsciously. When their eyes met, Zhou Yi's eyes seemed to have the same Sharingan, and his hand stopped abruptly, and his soul power was all retracted into his body, with a blank look in his eyes. I was just going to stop there, but I didn't expect you to destroy me. In that case, don't blame me for using heavy hands. The Chidori in Fanyu's hand was no longer merciful, and it stabbed Zhou Yi's chest directly. Sizzle. Ah! A piece of flesh and blood flew into the air, followed by a large piece of blood blooming, and a pig-killing scream sounded. The decibel was so high that it seemed to penetrate the entire Shrek square. Zhou Yi's figure flew backwards like a kite with a broken string. Looking at the figure flying backwards, Fanyu was thoughtful. The physical defense of the Soul Master was more fragile than he thought. He was stabbed in at once. The penetration ability of Chidori was extraordinary. It seems that the Soul Masters of Douluo continent are high in attack and low in defense like ninjas. After using the Sharingan to control for a short time, Fanyu's face was a little pale, and there were waves of emptiness in his mind. It was still a bit too reluctant. With his current mental power, it was extremely consuming to forcibly control a Soul Emperor. He had already called up most of his mental power and could only barely control it for 1 or 2 breaths. Fanyu stood still and slowly adjusted his state. The scream startled the students who were running. They gathered around and looked at Zhou Yi lying on the ground, and then looked at Fanyu standing aside, with deep shock in their eyes. What's going on? Tai Long said with a trembling voice. Go report to the teacher quickly, save people first. I don't know who shouted, and a student ran out, looking at Zhou Yi lying on the ground. All the students stepped back as if they had seen something horrible. Ah, damn bastard, I'm going to kill you. At this time, Zhou Yi was lying flat on the ground, with a large concave part on her chest, and a lot of blood was constantly flowing out. At this time, she was struggling to get up, and kept making a series of screams. Tai Long hurriedly pressed down Zhou Yi, who was about to get up. Teacher Zhou, don't move. The more you move, the faster the blood will flow. Ahem, let me go. Huo Yuhao and Wang Dong were also stunned by the scene in front of them at this time. They ran, but they didn't expect that such a thing would happen in the blink of an eye. Brother Fanyu, Teacher Zhou was not injured by you, right? Huo Yuhao looked at Fanyu, whose face was calm, with some fear, and then asked in a low voice. It was me. I was sparring with Teacher Zhou just now. Teacher Zhou was careless and was accidentally injured by me. I thought she was very strong, but I didn't expect it. Speaking of this, Fanyu seemed to sigh, as if he really accidentally injured Zhou Yi. Fanyu originally just wanted to teach Zhou Yi a lesson, but he didn't expect Zhou Yi to have murderous intentions towards him. You know, as a spiritual soul master, he has a strong sense of this aspect. Since Zhou Yi wants to kill him, he will not show mercy. He never takes the initiative to cause trouble. But if someone takes the initiative to provoke him, don't blame him for being ruthless, it's just that the position when he attacked just now may be a little wrong, and he was blocked by something of Zhou Yi, otherwise this move would at least seriously injure her. It's not that she will die, after all, she is a soul emperor, and this is Shrek Academy, there are still many healing soul masters, therefore, it's not that she will die, but there may be one less thing in the future. Thinking of this, Han Yu's face is slightly weird. Huo Yuhao subconsciously took a step back and said in confusion, "Brother Han Yu, why did you fight with Teacher Zhou, and hurt her so badly?" "Nothing, she asked me to go running, but I didn't run, so she said she would expel me, and then asked me to fight her, and she didn't use soul skills, and that's it." Han Yu seemed to be explaining to everyone, telling the whole story. "Brother Han Yu, this is what you did wrong. As a student, you really shouldn't resist the teacher. And I think Teacher Zhou's teaching philosophy is very good. Only if you are strict enough, the students will be strong. Besides, students hitting teachers is really disrespectful and rude. A strict teacher produces excellent students, and Master Yu Xiaojiang trained the first generation of Shrek's 7 devils in the same way 10,000 years ago. He felt that there was nothing wrong with it, and was rather glad that he joined Shrek Academy. If he could get this kind of training, his strength would surely improve quickly. Thinking of this, Huo Yuhao complained. Han Yu's expressionless face finally changed, as if it was the first day she met Huo Yuhao. She stared at him closely, and then slowly said, "Do you have a problem with your brain? Do you know what Zhou Yi did? The first batch of students to be eliminated are students with low soul power like you. Do you think you can run these 100 laps by yourself? Do you think too highly of yourself? Why is this person unable to distinguish right from wrong? She was beaten by a student, but she was not a waste herself, so why did she become a sinner now?" Han Yu frowned. Perhaps out of sympathy for Huo Yuhao being treated like a dog, she was planning to help him. It seems unnecessary now. The rat in the dark corner is not worthy of being on the stage. In this case, Han Yu has nothing to say. After all, Shrek is not a place to stay for a long time. I will go to handle the withdrawal procedures later. Huo Yuhao's face flushed. I don't know if I can finish the 100 laps, but I will persist. As long as I work hard, I will definitely be able to stay. Since you think so, I have nothing to say to you. Ilux is no longer with Huo Yuhao. The future depends on a big bug. The result is hard to say. Wang Dong nodded, took a step back, and said in agreement, I think Huo Yuhao is right. As long as we work hard, our strength will definitely improve. Teacher Zhou looks strict, but his methods are really effective. I feel like my soul power has improved. Han Yu glanced at Wang Dong and said coldly, you are the least qualified to talk about hard work here. Such a top-level martial soul is only level 21. You are simply a waste. Such a good talent is wasted. You are just lazy and lack someone to urge you, not because her method is good. As the daughter of the God King, with a 3-life martial soul, she is only level 21 now. This makes Han Yu not know what to say. If he is given this starting condition, he must be at least level 40 now. Asshole, what did you say? Wang Dong, who had pink and blue hair, was furious when he heard this and was about to take action immediately. Huo Yuhao quickly pulled Wang Dong back. Huo Yuhao, why are you pulling me? I'm going to teach him a lesson today. Teach me a lesson. What qualifications does a loser who can't even beat Huo Yuhao have to teach me a lesson? That day, outside the dormitory, Han Yu saw the whole process clearly through mental detection. Although it was a fight between elementary school students, it was a pile of shit, but he was still shocked by Wang Dong's operation. What kind of physical fitness is Huo Yuhao? It's a bit of a compliment to say that he is weak among soul masters. She was actually knocked down by Huo Yuhao on the spot. She herself is the owner of the beast martial soul, which has greatly improved her physical condition. 5 chapters are updated today. Please read, collect and vote. Chapter 32 Fanyu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It was like Bronze was operating the king, which was simply outrageous. Asshole, you dare to call me useless, I will teach you a lesson today. Huo Yuhao, please let go. Wang Dong struggled hard and threw Huo Yuhao away. The goddess of light was immediately possessed by the butterfly, and a pair of blue gold wings stretched out from her back. "Stop!" that a low shout sounded. "The teacher is here," that the crowd parted, and Douluo, with a gloomy look on his face, led several teachers to Fanyu and the others. "Save Zoe first," Douluo said to one of the male teachers in white. The male teacher nodded, and dazzling circles of soul rings rose from his feet, 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 3 black. There were actually 7 in total. He raised his hands, soft green light emitted from his palms, and the 7th soul ring on his body shone with black light. He suddenly transformed and disappeared from everyone's eyes. The emerald green leaves grew wildly. In the blink of an eye, the 7-ringed soul ring, the male teacher's entire body turned into a tree of life. As if a breeze was blowing, a green leaf flew out from the big tree with a huge umbrella and fell directly on Zhou Yi, who was seriously injured. Zhou Yi's face turned rosy at a speed visible to the naked eye, the blood on his body stopped flowing, and his breathing gradually became calmer. The tree of life turned into dots of green light and disappeared, and the male teacher appeared in front of everyone again. At this time, his face was slightly ugly. Just as he was about to say something, a man suddenly appeared. "Zhou Yi, how are you?" That the man was very strong, with short, sleek hair, and his whole body exuded a strong metallic smell. At this time, he ran towards Zhou Yi's position with an eager look on his face, and let out an urgent cry. Douluo and others gathered in front of Zhou Yi, and the male teacher pulled the man's sleeve. He whispered, "Teacher Fanyu, Zhou Yi's injury has almost recovered, that's it." Having said this, it seemed a little hard to say, and he hesitated for a moment. He looked at the teacher named Fanyu with pity in his eyes. Fanyu didn't think too much. At this time, his thoughts were all on Zhou Yi, and he asked without raising his head, "But what? Please explain clearly." Hearing that Zhou Yi was okay, a big stone fell in his heart and he breathed a sigh of relief. Her chest was severely injured, and a strong bolt of lightning destroyed her muscle tissue. "I'm afraid she will be a little unbalanced in the future." The male teacher gritted his teeth, pointed at Zhou Yi's sunken chest, and said tactfully. Douluo and several teachers looked at each other with strange expressions on their faces, wondering why they couldn't understand what the male teacher meant. To put it simply, a piece of Zhou Yi's body was missing, the muscles were necrotic, and it was impossible to recover as before. Even if it is connected, it may be asymmetrical, and if you use too much force, it may fall off after being rubbed. Several teachers' faces trembled when they thought of that scene. The scene was too terrifying and they didn't dare to think too much about it. At this time, Fanyu obviously understood. His expression was ugly, and he looked at Zhou Yi with complicated eyes. "Fanyu, take revenge on me. Zhou Yi also heard it, and when he thought about the possibility that he might not be able to bear the blow in the future, he passed out directly. When Fanyu saw this, his face became very ugly, as gloomy as dripping water, and he said in a low voice, "Someone tell me who caused Teacher Zhou's injuries." When the surrounding students heard this, they turned to look at Fanyu. Fanyu also followed his gaze and looked at Fanyu, who was standing beside him. Exuding a terrifying aura, he strode up to him and whispered, "Is it you who beat Zhou Yi like this?" Fanyu did not answer his words, but turned to look at Douluo and nodded slightly. "Director Du, don't you say a few words?" Douluo suddenly had a headache when he heard this. He had already understood the ins and outs from the students around him just now. Fanyu was not to blame for the whole thing. "Damn Zhou Yi, you can cause trouble for me. If you didn't have a husband with a high status, I would have fired you long ago." Douluo's heart was full of resentment. His position as the teaching director was very embarrassing. He was not as good as his superiors but not as good as his inferiors. Anyone could compete with him. Although he prefers Fanyu in his heart, Zhou Yi's identity is not simple. She is Fanyu's wife. In terms of status, he is inferior to Fanyu, so he turns a blind eye to Zhou Yi's daily behavior, but the student beat the teacher, and it caused such a major impact. It would be fine if it was just a simple beating of the teacher, but this person was Fanyu's wife. If one person is not handled well, he, as the dean, may be in trouble. Douluo turned around and whispered a few words to a teacher next to him. The teacher nodded repeatedly. then turned and left. After explaining a few words, Douluo put a smile on his face and said, "Teacher Fanyu, classmate Hanyu, follow me to the office first. This is not the place to talk. Humph. You must give me an explanation today, otherwise." After Fanyu finished speaking, he quickly turned around and picked up the unconscious Zhou Yi and left. He wanted to send Zhou Yi to the infirmary first. When Douluo saw that Fanyu was not giving him face, his expression changed, and his smile soon returned. "Let's go." Douluo smiled at Hanyu and signaled him not to be too stressed. Douluo also admired Hanyu's talent for being able to beat Zhou Yi like that. He believed that the people above him would definitely protect Hanyu. Hanyu stood nearby, looking at Douluo. In a short period of time, his expression changed dozens of times, and there was a hint of admiration in his eyes. "I can only lament that it is not easy for someone to be a teaching director." Follow Douluo to the office. Douluo's office is not big, but it is very tidy. It can be seen that his usual style is quite good. Hanyu randomly found a sofa and sat down. "Classmate Hanyu, don't worry. I have understood this matter clearly. The responsibility is not yours. I believe that the college will not take sides." Bang! Really? This Hanyu student is so arrogant and can be so cruel to his own teacher. It shows that this kid has evil intentions and the college should punish him severely. Just as Douluo finished speaking, the sound of a door hitting the wall was heard, and Fanyu appeared in their eyes. Hearing this, Douluo's face looked a little unhappy, and he said angrily, "Teacher Fanyu, I think you should be aware of the process. It was Zhou Yi who was wrong first, so why should I blame classmate Hanyu?" Fanyu said angrily, "Even if Zhou Yi is wrong first, he can't be so cruel. Who knew teacher Zhou Yi was such a good person? Could it be that she can't guard against my moves and she still has to blame me? Teacher Fanyu, right? If you fight a title Douluo and you can't beat others, do you have to blame others for being stronger than you?" At this moment, Hanyu finally couldn't listen anymore. These people had the idea of going to a bar. 5 chapters updated today. Everyone, please read it, collect it, vote for it. Chapter 33 Leaving Shrek Academy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hearing this, Fanyu's tone stagnated, his face changed slightly, and he didn't know how to respond for a moment. He was just angry that Zhou Yi was injured like this and it affected his happy life. Douluo said, "I have asked someone to invite Dean Yen to come over. Let Dean Yen decide on this matter." Hanyu didn't have much opinion on this. He felt that the people of Shrek should not be so stupid, and they should be able to distinguish who is right and who is wrong. About a moment later, there was a burst of hurried footsteps outside the office, and an old man in white appeared. Behind him was the teacher who had just left. The old man in white said lightly, "I have understood this matter clearly. Zhou Yi was wrong first, but Zhou Yi taught many inner courtyard disciples for the academy, so the academy will do its best to treat her." Dean Yen. Fanyu frowned, obviously not intending to end it like this. Yen Xiaozhe glanced at him and waved his hand, his face grim, saying, "This is my Wuhuan department's business. Teacher Fanyu belongs to the Soul Guidance department. Don't interfere too much, let Qian Duo speak if there is anything." Then, as if he didn't want to offend Fanyu, he said, "Although student Hanyu didn't do anything wrong, he seriously injured the teacher, which is a rebellious act. His heart is cruel and needs to be improved. He will be recorded as a major offense. In that case, then listen to Dean Yen. I'll take my leave first." Fanyu heard the gloomy face and looked better. He clasped his hands and turned to leave. He knew what the punishment for the major offense of Shrek Academy was. It was a very severe punishment for the students, being marked with such a black mark. I'm afraid the whole continent will know about it in the future. For a student, it can be said to be a heavy punishment. Hanyu's face changed. He didn't expect Yen Xiaozhe to act like this. This made his impression of Shrek decline again. "Forget it, let's leave Shrek Academy next," Hanyu said secretly. Seeing Fanyu leave, Yen Xiaozhe turned to look at Hanyu. Seeing that his face was not very good, he smiled slightly and said, "Student Hanyu, I hope you can understand that you are given a serious demerit this time. The academy is all for your own good. You will understand it in the future. As long as you get good grades in the freshman assessment next time, I will make the decision to cancel your serious demerit and promote you to a core disciple of the Wuhuan department. How about it? This is a treatment that most students can't get. Han Yu's face was gloomy. It was for my good, and it was for my good again. A big stick and a date, right? Han Yu, don't buy this. Do you really treat him as a child who has not experienced the world? I will leave Shrek Academy after school today, Han Yu said secretly. Shrek Academy is divided into morning and afternoon classes, and only at night can you have the opportunity to sneak out, Han Yu said coldly. I know, nothing else. I'll leave. Yan Xiaozhe looked at Han Yu, who was leaving, with a smile, and didn't care about Han Yu's attitude. After all, he had just been sentenced to a serious demerit, and he could understand that Han Yu must be in a bad mood. Douluo said, Dean, isn't this bad for Han Yu? After all, if he has any grudges against the academy will lose such a genius. After all, he is a genius who can severely injure a Soul Emperor-level teacher. Although Zhou Yi did not use soul skills, it is already very powerful. Douluo hesitated. Grudges? What grudges can he have? I think he should thank the academy. Think about it, I am giving him a serious demerit now, and he must be very terrified in his heart. But don't forget that with his talent, his performance in the freshman assessment will definitely not be bad. I also promise that after he gets good results, his serious demerit will be cancelled. Shouldn't he be grateful? I will also give him the treatment of a core disciple. By then, this child will probably be so excited that he can't sleep. After all, not everyone can get the core disciple of Shrek Academy. Yan Xiaozhe clasped his hands and said confidently. Douluo felt something was wrong, but he couldn't put his finger on it. After thinking about it carefully, it seemed to be true, so he agreed, it has to be you. Otherwise, if I were to handle it, I might not be able to do it as perfectly as you did. On the one hand, it makes Fanyu satisfied, and on the other hand, it makes Hanyu grateful to the college. This move can be said to kill two birds with one stone. Listening to Douluo's slightly flattering words, Yan Xiaozhe's smile became even stronger. Douluo, I still trust you when you do things, but your overall concept is still a little lacking. I will learn more in the future. Douluo's mouth twitched, and he thought to himself, if I had the strength of a title Douluo, it's not certain who would be the dean. We're going to be so proud of a compliment, right? By the way, Hanyu should be assigned to class 9 of Mujin. He had a conflict with Zhou Yi, so he can't stay in class 1 anymore. Also, investigate Han Yu's background carefully to see if he is suitable to be a member of the academy. Yes, I'll tell him right away. What they don't know is that this trick will definitely work against Huo Yuhao, but for Han Yu, then, Dormitory 109, Han Yu is packing up and is going to run away. Now he has to pack up first, and then he has to finish the class and leave directly after school. Ding! The system wakes up and detects that the host's emotions are fluctuating greatly. Issue a task. Please ask the host to win the Freshman Assessment Championship and then leave Shrek Academy. Do you accept? After completion, you will be rewarded with a purple treasure chest. After completing the task, the next advanced task will be started, defeating the Shrek team. Hanyu was slightly stunned. This dog system was online at this time, and it also issued a task to him. The soul bone rewarded by the champion is not important. Hanyu really doesn't like that thing, but it's okay to discuss Shrek. Even the system detected that his emotions fluctuated greatly and issued a task to himself. In this case, don't blame me, Shrek's 10,000 years of glory, where you got it, I will make you lose it. Hanyu thought secretly in his heart. Although Hanyu was angry about Yan Xiaozhe's behavior, he did not lose his mind. Revenge in secret is not his style. When the Soul Master competition comes later, he will let Shrek understand that there are some people they can't afford to offend. The burden of Shrek's glory has made you corrupt. Next, spend these 3 months quietly. The person who won the freshman championship finally left without saying goodbye. I think Yan Xiaozhe's face must be very wonderful. The most important thing is that there is a purple level treasure chest as a reward. This is the key point. This is the first time it has appeared, and it can also open subsequent tasks. In the past 6 years, I have only opened 4 treasure chests. The system's presence is too low for Hanyu. The first time seemed to be a mental amplification, then a shadow clone, thunder attribute, and finally an attribute amplification, which eliminated his negative state. Is it a big help? Not a big one. Most of them are in cultivation and attack. The biggest one is the Sharingan martial spirit, but these are not very useful when taken out individually. They are more powerful when combined. The mental attribute has increased by 50% out of thin air, and there are also shadow clones for cultivation cheats, attack soul skills Chidori, etc. Combat power, basic attributes, and cultivation speed are not bad. Hanyu is still looking forward to the system's purple level treasure chest. System. Accept. Ding. The host has accepted the task, and the reward will be issued after the task is completed. Ding. The system has entered sleep. Hanyu is also used to this system that has to sleep at any time. Since he has temporarily accepted the task, he will definitely be inseparable for a while. It was just right for him to go to the freshman class 9 to have a look. He was also caught up by Douluo and notified when he just left the office. Freshman class 9 and class 1 are on the same floor, and down are class 2, class 3, class 4, and class 9. Hanyu came to the first grade with ease and glanced at the next class. At this time, because Zhou Yi was recovering from an injury, a middle-aged teacher was currently teaching. He looked gentle, which was the opposite of Zhou Yi. Dong dong dong. Come in. A somewhat crisp voice sounded, and Hanyu pushed open the door of the classroom and walked in. As soon as Hanyu appeared, he immediately attracted the attention of the whole class. Hello, classmate Hanyu, I am Mu Jin, the head teacher of class 9, and I will also be your head teacher in the future. Please find a seat and sit down first. Mu Jin said with a smile, obviously expecting Hanyu's arrival. Yes, teacher. Hanyu glanced at Mu Jin slightly, who looked about 30 years old, but her appearance is rather youthful and beautiful. She wears the teacher's uniform of Shrek Academy, which slightly reveals her fair skin. She wears a skirt with a touch of flesh color underneath, which gives her a unique temperament. 5 chapters are updated today. Please read, collect, and vote. Chapter 34. Sheep are still sheep, they can't beat wolves. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hanyu looked around and found that the window seat in the last row was occupied by a fat man, so he found a seat and sat down at random. He found that the atmosphere in class 9 was much better than that in class 1, at least there was no sense of fear. Everyone's expression was very peaceful. Some students were whispering to each other, some students were listening carefully, and a few were doing their own things. Most people were between 1 and 2 rings in terms of aura. For people of this age, their strength has surpassed most soul masters. It really deserves to be a gathering place for geniuses. Hanyu sighed secretly. Okay, today we have a new transfer student in our class. Hanyu, introduce yourself to everyone. Before his but was warm, Mu Jin on the podium called his name. Hanyu. Hanyu had to stand up. After thinking about it, there was nothing to introduce, so he just kept it simple. The other students in class 2 had obviously heard of the name Hanyu, and some of them had seen the guy who became famous in the cafeteria on the first day of registration. At this moment, the classroom was somewhat quiet, and the chirping sound like birds rang out. A girl with short red hair whispered to a girl with short golden hair beside her. Young master, this is Hanyu. I heard that he beat Dai Huabin so badly that he seemed to have a big belly. The blonde girl, who was called the young master, blushed slightly and said coquettishly, Sister Feng, I said it was a rumor. It's not as exaggerated as you said. Wu Feng looked weird, and said in a serious tone, Young master, it's all true. Now it's crazy outside. It said that Hanyu is a pervert. He glared at Dai Huabin, and Dai Huabin shouted there, No, no. Many people heard it, and the news is absolutely reliable. And look at this Hanyu's self-introduction, there is only his name. It's not easy to get along with him. Maybe he is really a pervert. Hearing this, Ning Tian's eyes flashed with curiosity. As the young master of the 9 treasures glazed sect, her attention is certainly not on the surface. Others said Hanyu was a pervert, but in her opinion, Hanyu was very strong. He could subdue Dai Huabin in an instant, which was enough to show his strength. This kind of person was exactly what she needed to make friends with. This was also the purpose of her coming to Shrek Academy. The family needed a powerful guardian of the sect, and she needed a powerful husband. Others came to improve their strength, but she came to find a husband. Thinking of this, her face flushed slightly. Looking at Hanyu carefully, Ning Tian couldn't help but nodded secretly. He was handsome, had a good temperament, and was very strong. Overall, he looked very good. Hearing Hanyu's brief introduction, Wu Jin on the stage was slightly stunned, with a silly expression. I didn't expect Hanyu to do this, and immediately nodded and said, well, classmate Hanyu, you sit down first, and we will continue the class. He had a good impression of Hanyu. After all, he severely punished her rival in love, and I don't know which big-mouthed teacher spread the news that Zhou was missing a piece. Now the entire academy and most of the teachers in the external courtyard know about it. There will be more black material to laugh at her in the future. Mu Jin smiled at Hanyu and turned to write 2 words on the blackboard: attack, defense. After writing, she turned around and looked at the students, smiling. Everyone should know these 2 words, so you must understand their meaning. In our class, all Soul Master series have them, so I will now tell you about the Soul Master's attack and defense. So, among all Soul series, who is better at attacking and who is better at defending? Wu Feng, you answer. Wu Feng, who was whispering below, froze, like a student caught slacking off, and stood up with an embarrassed look. Let me think. Wu Feng felt a little dizzy. She didn't hear clearly what Mu Jin was saying just now, and looked at Ning Tian for help. Who is better at attacking and who is better at defending? Ning Tian also understood it in seconds and moved his lips. Wu Feng roughly understood, then looked at the blackboard and said, attack and defense. Soul Masters with strong attack are better at attacking, and Soul Masters with strong defense should be good at defense. Ha ha ha. The whole class laughed at Wu Feng's answer. Ning Tian, who was standing next to him, also twitched his mouth, and was obviously stimulated. It sounds like what he said is right, but it sounds funny no matter how you listen to it. Mu Jin curved her eyebrows and said with some amusement, I asked you to say who is good at attacking and who is good at defending among the Soul Masters of each department, but you said it as if you didn't say anything. Wu Feng knew that he had made a big fool of himself. His face flushed, and then he reacted and expressed his understanding. That should be the strong attack and defense system. After all, my own attack is still very strong, and it also belongs to the strong attack system. Mu Jin nodded, motioned Wu Feng to sit down, then glanced at Hanyu who was calm and composed, and said, Student Hanyu, do you have any opinion on who is better at attack and defense? Hanyu stood up and said, I think that Soul Masters in the control system, agility system, and strong attack system are better at attacking. After all, they are good at frontal combat. And Soul Masters with defensive martial spirits have strong innate defense in martial spirits, so they are most suitable for defense. Hearing that Hanyu also agreed with her understanding, although it was a little different from what she said. Wu Feng's eyes looking at Hanyu softened a little. Although there are soul guides, the result is self-evident when the attack system holds soul guides and the auxiliary system holds soul guides. Mu Jin nodded, motioned Hanyu to sit down, then looked around at the students around him, and said in a deep voice, just now, Hanyu and Wu Feng were only half right. If it was in the past, there would be no problem saying this. But now, the situation has changed. Is it because of the soul guide? Ning Tian, who was next to Wu Feng, blurted out. Mu Jin looked at Ning Tian with appreciation, nodded and said, yes, since the Sun and Moon Empire collided with Douluo continent 4,000 years ago, soul guides were brought, and now offense and defense have become blurred. Defense systems Soul Masters can hold powerful attack soul guides and have strong enough attack power for the time being, and auxiliary Soul Masters can also be equipped with powerful defense soul guides to temporarily serve as defensive positions. So now there is a problem of blurred offense and defense. After Mu Jin finished speaking, Ning Tian nodded in agreement. Their sect is now using soul guides and has a deep understanding of the power of soul guides, it's just that there aren't many high-level soul guides in the sect. As the 9 Treasures Glazed sect, which is the richest sect on the continent, it's not that they can't afford them, it's because the Sun and Moon Empire has listed high-level soul guides as banned items. Even if the 9 Treasures Glazed sect has a lot of money, it can't get them. They treat the private sale of high-level soul guides as treason. Fanyu frowned and said, the strong attack system is still the best at attacking. Sheep are always sheep. What if they have soul guides? A wolf and a sheep hold the same weapon. Can the sheep beat the wolf? At best, it can only make up for its inherent weakness. Chapter 35 The Correct Use of Soul Guides. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A wolf and a sheep hold the same weapons. Can the sheep beat the wolf? At best, it can only make up for its own innate weakness. Fanyu opened his mouth and said that his Tai Dao was a soul-guiding device, and its grade was not high, only around level 3, it was Du Bijui who got it in Hanhai City. He knew very well that his strength was very different with and without Tai Dao. Mu Jin had some embarrassment on her face. This was what she was going to say next, but now Fanyu had finished everything she wanted to say and couldn't help but get stuck. After a pause, Mu Jin said in a deep voice, classmate Fanyu is right, the soul guide is indeed powerful. If you use it well, it will bring you huge improvement. But you must understand the order in which soul masters are powerful, and don't put the cart before the horse. The factors that make a soul master powerful are, first of all, the soul master himself. The soul master and his physical quality are all indispensable. Without strong soul support and physical fitness, even if I give you a soul guide, you won't be able to use it. So next, we will carry out physical training and actual combat training. As for the improvement of soul power, it depends on whether you work hard. There will be a freshman assessment in 3 months. I hope everyone can stay. After Mu Jin finished speaking, she turned to look at Fanyu and said, classmate Fanyu, come with me and help me move the training equipment for training. You go to the training room to gather first. After saying that, she turned around and walked out. Fanyu stood up and followed Mu Jin out of the classroom. Teacher Hibiscus, don't we need to run? Fanyu said with some surprise. When he heard about training physical fitness, he subconsciously thought of the running training method of Class 1. Running? Of course it is necessary, but it is for students with insufficient endurance. For some students with relatively strong physical fitness, running is useless, so some specially made equipment is needed. Hibiscus slowly slowed down and walked side by side with Fanyu, her long hair hanging on Xiang's shoulders moving without any wind. As he got closer, Fanyu could only feel the fragrance of gardenia coming to his nostrils, and he couldn't help but take a breath. I didn't expect Teacher Hibiscus to also like gardenia. This flavor suits you very well. Fanyu smiled slightly. If he guessed correctly, Mu Jin should still be single and secretly in love with someone. Hibiscus blushed slightly and said with a smile, it's okay, I quite like the taste. You can go get the utensils with me first. After Mu Jin finished speaking, her steps accelerated, and in just a few breaths, she pulled Fanyu behind her. Fanyu smiled slightly, he knew the flower language of gardenia, and then followed Hibiscus to an abandoned classroom. The classroom is large, but it is not messy. Instead, it is well kept. Various items were placed very neatly, and Fanyu was a little surprised to see some familiar training tools here. This classroom was originally used to store debris, but I applied to use it to put some training props. These are the items we will use next. Looking at the training equipment that looked like dumbbells, grippers, arm bars, and sandbags in front of him, Fanyu was a little surprised. He didn't expect that there were such things in Douluo continent. The dumbbell-like training equipment in front of them had some soul power fluctuations flowing on them, and they looked like some soul guidance devices. As if knowing what Fanyu was thinking, Mu Jin smiled slightly and introduced, these are the second-level soul guidance devices in front of me. I asked the soul guidance department to make them. They have no attack power, so they can be used for training. The stick-like thing in front of me is a second-level soul tool. Because it has white and black stripes all over its body, it looks like the skin pattern of a white tiger. I gave it a name, White Tiger Stick. It can be injected with soul power to charge, and the toughness can be adjusted freely. It is generally used to train arm and wrist strength. This bag-like soul tool, I call it Soul Guidance Bag, is usually used to train attack methods and power techniques. It is tailor-made for the power attack system. Hanyu was slightly stunned and said, Teacher Mu, you came up with this all by yourself, or are they all available in the academy? Mujin said proudly, of course I came up with it myself. Other classes don't have these things. They are still running now. Originally, I wanted to build something similar to a gravity training room, but that old woman Zhou Yi gave me the Soul Guidance Institute said it would cost too much, so it would be better to just run in iron clothes, the effect would be the same. When Dean Xian Duo heard that it would cost a lot and that there was a cheap training method like iron clothes, he directly rejected my proposal. Mu Jin looked unhappy, and she even gritted her teeth when talking about Zhou Yi and Xian Duo. Hanyu secretly smiled, not to mention Zhou Yi, the two were love rivals. If your love rival is unhappy, you must be happy. After all, happiness is based on the pain of others. As for Xian Duo, he was just stingy. Not only did the Soul Guidance Department not have as many resources as the Martial Soul Department, but even the students were selected by others. Rejecting Mu Jin was completely expected and was in line with Qian Duo's character. Okay, no more talking. Help me move these things out. Talking too much will make you angry. Hibiscus waved her hand, picked up a pile of white tiger sticks and walked out. Hanyu had a weird look on his face and wanted to complain about White Tiger Stick and Soul Guidance Bag. He picked up the remaining Soul Guidance Bag and followed Mu Jin to the training room. There is a training room in every class, but every teacher has his own training method, and some people don't use it. At this time, the training room was full of students from class 9. Mu Jin slowly came to the students and said in a deep voice, 3 months later, there will be a freshman assessment, and half of the first grade will be eliminated. I hope you can work hard to improve yourself. Whether you can stay in the academy depends on you. Don't put all your hopes on me. Although I am your teacher, in the final analysis, I am just a student who has gone one step ahead of you. The road of Soul Master is very long. The teacher is just your guide. Whether you can become a strong man depends entirely on you. Of course, I will do my best to teach you. Strength is only a necessary condition on the road to becoming a strong man. There are many other factors. Of course, this is not related to the current course. Our first lesson today is to improve our strength. Wow! After Mu Jin finished speaking, the whole class was in an uproar. Every student's eyes were full of enthusiasm, and the pressure came to the students' hearts inadvertently, as if to urge them to run forward. Hanyu looked at Mu Jin with some surprise. She had stirred up the students' emotions with just a few words. What he didn't expect was that she could say such words, which made him look at her with a new respect. Chapter 36, Wu Feng, the God of War with Exploding Clothes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Not only did he not have the pride of a teacher, he also described himself as a student like them, but he started a little earlier than them. This immediately brought the relationship between the teacher and the students closer. Hanyu believes that as a teacher, you don't have to be strong, but you have to know what the students need most and how to teach them correctly. Strength is only part of it. Life experience, and correct values can all be regarded as teaching and solving doubts. A strong person is not only a person with strong strength, but also a person with a firm heart who can face the wind and rain with a smile and has strong beliefs. If you are strong but don't have the right values, you can only be regarded as a reckless man. Teacher Mu, what are these? A girl with long light green hair draped behind her asked timidly, giving people a feeling of weakness. Nan Men Yuner, this is a training soul guide specially designed by the teacher. It can improve your quality. You can take it for training. If you don't understand, you can ask me. Mu Jin smiled, then picked up a white tiger stick, and bent it with both hands. The originally straight white tiger stick instantly became bent, forming a U-shaped shape. Wu Feng looked at Mu Jin bending the white tiger stick so easily, and curled his lips with some disdain and said, Teacher, this is too easy. I can bend 10 sticks like this at the same time. Hearing this, Mu Jin's mouth showed a curve, loosened his hand, restored the white tiger stick in his hand to its original state and said, "Okay, classmate Wu Feng, then you try it." TSK. Try it, I don't believe it can be so hard. Wu Feng picked up the white tiger stick and bent it hard. To her surprise, the white tiger stick did not bend as she imagined, on the contrary, it did not move at all, looking at the inquiring eyes of the students around him. Wu Feng's face flushed and he shouted in a low voice, the red dragon spirit instantly possessed her body, and she seemed to have grown a few years older. She looked about 16 or 17 years old, the school uniform she was wearing shattered and exploded, revealing the elastic leather jacket inside, which set off her perfect curves to the fullest. Ha! The god of war with exploding clothes. It seems that you have to show your real skills, but the school uniform is a bit useless. Fanyu, who was standing by, was surprised and watched with interest. If he was not mistaken, when Mu Jin handed Wu Feng the white tiger stick, she quietly pressed the button on the handle to increase the toughness to the maximum. When he came just now, Mu Jin introduced to him that the white tiger stick has 4 levels, each corresponding to the soul master to the soul sect. According to the current strength, it would be difficult to bend it without matching the strength of the soul sect. Ha! Wu Feng shouted, his body sank slightly, his feet opened about 15 degrees, he squatted slightly, bent his knees and half squatted, stretched his hands forward horizontally to hold the white tiger stick tightly, accumulating strength and preparing to bend it in one fell swoop. Is it coming? Judging from the posture, it should be able to move it. A student whispered. Wu Feng's martial soul is the red dragon. Although it is a sub-dragon, it can be regarded as a top martial soul. It is only slightly inferior to the white tiger martial soul. It is also known for its strong power. Ning Tian had a smile on his face, and he was obviously very confident in Wu Feng. Really? I don't think she can move it. Just then, a somewhat cold voice came into Ning Tian's ears from behind, making her turn around and look. Seeing Fanyu appear in front of her, Ning Tian was slightly stunned, then smiled slightly and said, "Why do you say that, classmate Fanyu? I think Sister Feng should be able to move it. How about we make a bet on whether she can move it?" "I bet she can't move it." Fanyu smiled slightly, with a hint of surprise in his eyes. When he got closer, he found that Ning Tian was indeed good-looking, giving people a sense of nobility, making him feel that this person was very expensive. Yes, just pure expensive. How can a mobile treasure house not be expensive? Ning Tian looked at Fanyu slightly, and could not help but nodded secretly, and nodded politely. "Hello, classmate Fanyu, let's meet formally. My name is Ning Tian, and Wu Feng and I are from the 9 Treasures Glazed Sect. I wonder where such an outstanding genius as classmate Fanyu comes from. I guess her family must be extraordinary, right?" Fanyu was stunned. "I made a bet with her, but she wanted to ask me where I came from. What should I do?" After thinking for a moment, he said, "I am a nobody, just an orphan. As for genius, I can't say that I am only the 5th level of innate soul power. That I definitely can't tell her that I am from the body sect. I know in my heart that the reputation of the body sect on the mainland is not very good. Innate soul power level 5, orphan," that even Ning Tian, who was calm and composed, couldn't hold back his expression. He widened his eyes, covered his mouth with his hands, and exclaimed in disbelief, "Then how did you cultivate to this level, and your second soul ring is still purple?" "What? Level 5? Impossible, you are kidding." The students around him obviously heard Ning Tian's exclamation, and they all looked unconvinced. Mu Jin, who was standing aside, looked over in surprise. He didn't believe what Fanyu said at all, but he didn't expose it on the spot. Fanyu smiled slightly, and his clothes moved without wind. "It's just luck. I can have this strength now, probably because I work harder. Geniuses can be divided into talented and hardworking types. It just so happens that I am a hardworking genius. Fortunately, my efforts have not been in vain, but I still can't catch up with you people with high innate soul power. Seeing the students around him looking shocked and unbelievable, Fanyu did not intend to explain more. What he said was indeed the truth, it was just that his starting point of hard work was a little higher, but he really worked hard, and he quite agreed with this: try to eat nutritious food, try to be beaten, and try to paddle in the sea. Do you think I will believe it? Ning Tian also came back to his senses at this time, thinking in his heart that it was a close call, and he was almost deceived. As the young master of the 9 treasures glazed sect, he naturally knew that Shrek Academy was not something an orphan could enter. Fanyu cultivated to the 2nd ring with the 5th level innate soul power. There must be a big force behind him, but the other party was unwilling to reveal it. Believe it or not, it's up to you. Anyway, I am like this. Fanyu shrugged. Sometimes no one believes the truth. Maybe most people think it is impossible, and it is also the bad nature of human beings. If you are better than others and have better talents, people will take it for granted, but if you have poor talents and are better than others, they will not accept it. Seeing Fanyu silent, Ning Tian was sure that he was not telling the truth. He rolled his eyes at him and said, "Then I'll bet that Feng Mei is gay." "What's the bet? Are you really going to bet with me?" Fanyu narrowed his eyes slightly, and a curve crossed his lips. "Someone sent money, please read more, everyone, every follow-up is important to me, please." Chapter 38: The Temptation of 10 Million. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ning Tian's delicate face was stunned. He didn't expect Fanyu to pay attention to this. He said unhappily, "It's just 2,000 gold soul coins. I won't default on it. I just think you are dishonest and bad. Here, 2,000 gold soul coins, please count." Fanyu took the bag with 2,000 gold soul coins and shook it with his hand. Well, it was as heavy as the one given by Bei Bei. Then he said, "Your family is quite rich. You can give me 2,000 gold soul coins as soon as you say it." It's not that Fanyu has never seen money, but 2,000 gold soul coins are not a small amount for ordinary soul masters. Those who can easily spend millions or tens of millions are all powerful. Most soul masters are not rich. For example, he knew that there seemed to be a female student named Jiang Nan in the outer courtyard, who seemed to be known as the most beautiful woman in the outer courtyard. She didn't live a rich life, and even had to pay some price to get medicine for her mother's healing. He lives a very frugal life. He can't even afford a soul guide. He relies on his amazing soul skills. This is the current situation of ordinary soul masters. Before he can transform his talent into strength, he should just be a poor guy. Ning Tian's eyes flashed with surprise. For some reason, he felt that Fanyu seemed to like money very much, so he joked. "My family is indeed very rich, with more than enough to spend. Would you like to consider joining my 9 treasures glazed sect? I can give you 1 million gold soul coins now." A tempting word sounded, and Fanyu almost couldn't help but agree. He took a deep breath and shook his head with difficulty. "I'm sorry, the education I received since childhood does not support me to do this kind of thing." "You have the wrong person." 3 million, Fanyu shook his head. 5 million. Fanyu took a deep breath and shook his head. 10 million. Ning Tian's voice unconsciously became louder. Fanyu suppressed his heartbeat and said calmly, "I've said it before, I'm not someone who can sell myself for money. A mere vulgar person is not worthy of my bowing." Ning Tian was slightly stunned, his eyes were full of light. He didn't expect Fanyu to be so strong. He could not change his face in the face of the temptation of 10 million, he couldn't help but look at him with high regard. "It seems that I underestimated him. Yes, if he can be won over so easily, then he will probably not be able to achieve great things in the future. My own vision is not bad." Thinking of this, Ning Tian felt a little proud. "I'm sorry, classmate Fanyu, I took it for granted. I didn't expect you to be so determined in your heart. No wonder you have such strength at this age." Ning Tian said with admiration. Fanyu nodded, turned his head calmly, looked around, thinking that no one should be able to see me from this angle. Suddenly his expression twisted, as if wearing a mask of pain on his face. 10 million, how many houses can I buy in Shrek with this? I almost couldn't help but agree. Fortunately, I am determined, but it's not enough. I must be able to remain calm even if 100 million gold soul coins are placed in front of me in the future. Fanyu thought secretly, thinking about the fact that in the past, in order to buy a house, I worked 3 jobs a day and could only afford a down payment. Now there are 10 million in front of me, but I can resist the temptation and choose to refuse. At this moment, Fanyu deeply realized that he had grown up. If it were the old self, I would probably have agreed to 1 million. Douluo continent, it doesn't look that bad. At least compared to the past when there was no room for advancement, although there are life-threatening situations here, you have the opportunity to choose to dominate your own destiny. From now on, I will be Fanyu of Douluo continent. I don't want to be exploited anymore. Since I'm here, I'll try my best to reach the top. Fanyu, who had always been a little out of place on Douluo continent, felt that the shackles in his heart seemed to be broken at this moment, as if 2 liquids that did not mix suddenly merged into one, and he felt indescribably relaxed. Bang! A barely detectable sound sounded in his body, and Fanyu was slightly stunned. Breakthrough! Before Fanyu was happy, Ning Tian felt that Hanyu's breath floated up a little, and said in surprise. Just a fluke. Fanyu smiled slightly, and his mood after losing 10 million became better. Student Fanyu, have you broken through? At this moment, Mu Jin also came to the 2 of them. Fanyu is one of the best students at present and is also her focus. Yes, Teacher Mu, I broke through by luck. Fanyu nodded, his expression was calm. He had been cultivating his soul power these days, and the breakthrough was just a matter of course, but it was a little earlier than he expected. Then you are now a quasi-soul master of level 30. Do you want the teacher to apply to the academy to take you to hunt soul rings? Mu Jin was surprised and looked at the handsome student in front of him. The more he looked like his brother, but the biggest difference between the 2 was that Fanyu was stronger. Damn Zhou, if my brother had such strength, he would not be expelled by you. Mu Jin thought bitterly in his heart. Fanyu was slightly stunned, then shook his head. Teacher Mu, I don't plan to get the soul ring now. I have my own considerations for my 3rd soul ring, but thank you very much, Teacher Mu. Fanyu had his own ideas about his soul ring. After completing the task, he would leave Shrek Academy and return to the body sect to find Debussy to take him to hunt. There are still too few spiritual attribute soul beasts, and it is very likely that they will have to go deep into the soul beast gathering place. He does not believe in Shrek Academy. With his current physical quality, he can already absorb 3,000 years of spirit rings at the 2nd level, so the absorption of the 3rd ring must be at least about 8,000 years, and even 10,000 year soul rings can be tried. As for mental shock, Fanyu is not afraid of this the most. Instead, he is worried about whether his physical fitness can keep up. Hey, it's a pity that there are too few spiritual attribute soul beasts, otherwise. But you can win the championship in the freshman assessment, and you will be rewarded with a core disciple. Then you can ask the academy to find the most suitable soul ring for you. Hibiscus rolled her eyes and then said slowly. Does Teacher Mu really want me to win the championship? Fanyu smiled slightly and said with some meaning. Oh, well, it is good for the teacher that you won the championship, but what I hope most is to be able to beat Zhou. Being suppressed by her all these years makes me feel very unhappy. If someone hadn't helped her, snort. Mu Jin sighed. Apparently, she loved and hated the person who helped Zhou. In that case, then I will win the championship. Fanyu said confidently, please read, everyone, every read is important to me, please. Chapter 39 Impossible, Absolutely Impossible. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The strongest person in the freshman assessment is Dai Huabin, who has been beaten once in the cafeteria before using the Sharingan illusion. He was still a little afraid of Dai Huabin's martial soul fusion technique. The more mental power is injected into the illusion, the stronger the control time and effect. With his current mental power, he can only temporarily control the strong man at the level of Soul Emperor for 1 or 2 seconds, then the mental power will be exhausted. Last time, Zhou was severely injured when she did not use her soul skills. If I also have a martial soul fusion technique, it would be great. According to the theory of martial soul fusion technique, the closer the quality of the martial souls between the two, the more they will feel it once they meet. The higher the degree of fusion, the greater the power, but I went around Shrek and didn't feel anyone who could resonate with my martial soul. Is the martial soul fusion technique really that rare? Hanyu thought secretly in his heart. As for the fusion of eyes and hammers, he tried to get close to Wang Dong, but there was no reaction at all. Just when Hanyu was thinking about a lot of things, Mu Jin smiled and said, "Don't be careless. As far as I know, in addition to Ning Tian in our class who is a 3-ring, there is also a Pippi Xiang who is also a 3-ring, and Dai Huabin who you defeated." "I know, Teacher Mu." Hanyu despises the enemy in attitude, but in his heart he still values others. Dai Huabin was fooled because of the first kill, and it will not be so easy to fool him next time. "Okay, you go and try it too, let me see your strength." Mu Jin picked up a white tiger stick, with a hint of pride on her face. Ning Tian on the side also looked curiously. As the nominal strongest person in Class 9, she wanted to know if it was as mysterious as the outside world said. The students around heard the noise and came to join in the fun, looking like they were eating melons. "Young master." Just then, Wu Feng came over with grievance, and then glared at Hanyu hatefully. Since Hanyu came to Class 9, the young master's focus has not been on her. Hanyu couldn't help but ask, "What are you looking at?" "Humph." Wu Feng, who was wearing a school uniform that he had taken from somewhere, folded his fists across his chest, snorted and turned his head away. "Let's start. Which level do you choose?" "The 4th level, I also want to try to see if I can bend it." Hanyu became interested. His current physical fitness should be no less than that of a soul master. Although it is not as good as those beast martial souls, it is still comparable to ordinary soul masters. After turning on the 4th level, Mu Jin handed the white tiger stick in his hand to Hanyu, and then slowly stepped back. "Humph, he definitely can't bend it. This is a soul guide that only soul masters can bend." Wu Feng's face flashed with disdain, and he spoke to Ning Tian, trying to divert her attention. "Sister Feng, you have to know that there are people who are better than you. What if Hanyu succeeds?" Ning Tian looked at Wu Feng with some amusement. He didn't know what was wrong with her today. She felt weird. "I know there are people who are better than you, but that person is definitely not him." Wu Feng pointed his hand and then spoke. "How do you know it wasn't me? What if I succeeded by luck?" Hanyu looked at the slightly bent white tiger stick in her hand and found that no one noticed it at this time, but Mu Jin, who was standing next to her, saw it. "Humph. Anyway, you will never succeed." Wu Feng put his hands on his waist and raised his head, revealing his snow-white neck. Hanyu's eyes turned, and a trace of inexplicable color flashed in his eyes. "Why don't we make a bet?" Again. Before Wu Feng spoke, Ning Tian, who was standing next to him, had a strange look in his eyes. Didn't this guy dislike betting? Now he started betting again. What bet? As Hanyu expected, Wu Feng really fell into the trap. "Let's bet on whether I can turn gay. The bet is 2,000 gold soul coins. This time I don't know the answer in advance." As if she was afraid that Ning Tian would stop her, Hanyu turned her head and said to her. "Let's bet." Feng Mei bets with him. "I don't believe I can lose to you this time." Ning Tian blushed and gently clenched her pink fist. She knew what Hanyu meant. Wu Feng nodded and said, "Okay, we'll make a bet with you. The loser will hand over 2,000 gold soul coins, and Teacher Mu will be the witness." Mu Jin nodded with a smile on her face, and then looked at Hanyu with a different look. This kid only knows how to deceive the little girl. "Well, I'm going to start." Hanyu exhaled lightly, then took a horse stance, pushed forward with both hands, and held the white tiger stick tightly. With a little force, the white tiger stick trembled slightly and made a sound. "It's bent." The fat student on the side exclaimed. "Too strong, worthy of being called red-eyed fierce man, much stronger than Wu Feng." Wu Feng just bent it a little because of sweating. The student with glasses habitually supported the frame of his glasses, and also looked shocked. Red-eyed fierce man, when did he have such a nickname? Hanyu's mouth twitched, and he almost lost his temper. Humph. It's just the beginning, it's just a little bit bent, I can do it too. Wu Feng curled his lips and said with some disdain. A little bit, then open your eyes wide, Hanyu laughed secretly, and then suddenly exerted force, the blue veins slowly emerged, and his face began to turn slightly red. The white tiger stick quickly passed halfway in the shocked eyes. It's a little harder than I thought. It shouldn't be a problem to bend it, but I still give Wu Feng a little hope. Looking at Wu Feng's slightly open mouth, Hanyu felt like teasing him. The white tiger stick, which had already been halfway bent, suddenly stopped at this progress. Mu Jin shook her head helplessly, sighing in her heart that she was still a child after all. Wu Feng, who originally thought he was going to lose, suddenly became happy and said proudly. Bend it, why don't you bend it? You are only halfway bent now. If you don't bend it completely, you will lose, right? Han Yu's face suddenly turned red, and he sighed and said, yes, I am going to lose. This is too difficult. I feel like I am almost done. Wu Feng was even happier when he heard this, and couldn't help but say, hurry up and admit defeat. This can only be bent by the Soul Sect. It's not shameful for you to lose. Snap. The sound of the white tiger stick bending to the extreme sounded, and Wu Feng, who was originally proud, suddenly stopped smiling, and stared at the white tiger stick in Han Yu's hand with a dull look. Impossible, absolutely impossible, this can only be bent by a soul sect, and my beast martial soul can only bend it a little bit. How can you, a spiritual attribute soul master, be stronger than me? Wu Feng shook his head, doubting his life madly. It is quite difficult, I used 50% of my strength to bend it, I was exhausted. Dang! The white tiger stick returned to its original state. Ning Tian also looked at Hanyu with a normal face in a daze, not knowing that he was fooled again. Please read it, everyone, every follow-up is important to me, please. Chapter 40 Young Master, How Can I Live Without You? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Damn it, you bad guy, you're playing tricks on me again. Ning Tian spat lightly, couldn't help but give Hanyu a blank look, and then threw out another small bag. He shook it familiarly and put it into the storage soul guide. Thank you both for your gifts. I am grateful to you both. I received another 2,000 gold soul coins, which was very satisfying. Asshole, how dare you play tricks on me? After hearing Ning Tian's explanation, Wu Feng felt like a clown. He couldn't control his bad temper and couldn't help but said angrily. Your strength is pretty good, but your brain is a little hard to use. Hanyu smiled slightly and glanced at the two wealth-giving girls with some gratitude. Damn it, I want to fight your soul. Young master, please don't stop me. As Wu Feng spoke, she began to take off her clothes. This was her last piece of school uniform, and she would have to add 2 more pieces later. Ning Tian looked strange, but he didn't stop her. Are you sure you want to fight my soul? The consequences will be serious, right? Han Yu's eyes flashed red, seeming to remind him with good intentions. Come on, I'm afraid you won't make it. Wu Feng, who had finished taking off his clothes, had just finished speaking. The surrounding students saw a scene that was jaw-dropping. After Wu Feng took off his clothes, he seemed stunned for a moment, then a trace of confusion flashed in his eyes, and he soon returned to normal. Suddenly, she smiled brightly, ran forward, and soon came to a pillar. In the dull eyes of everyone, Wu Feng actually hugged him, then leaned his head on the pillar, and said in a gentle tone, Young master, I don't care about the worldly opinions at all, as long as I can be with you. Even if I suffer the contempt of everyone in the world, I am willing. Wu Feng then listened, nodding from time to time, with a sweet smile on his face. After listening to it for a minute or two, not knowing what happened, Wu Feng's face suddenly became extremely sad. While hugging the pillar tightly, he cried, Young master, don't leave. How can I live without you? Don't go, don't go. Then Wu Feng's body seemed to be hit by something, and he fell to the ground, his eyes dull. He kept repeating the same sentence, don't go, don't go. Seeing this, everyone's eyes suddenly became strange, and they kept glancing back and forth between Ning Tian and Wu Feng. then he stayed away from Hanyu with some fear. The fat student's body trembled slightly, as if he couldn't accept it, and couldn't help but said, "What's going on? Why is Wu Feng like this? She seems to be controlled by boss Hanyu. Her current situation is very similar to that of Dai Huabin." The student with glasses suddenly appeared behind the fat student, startling him. Mu Jin was also a little confused at the moment about the relationship between Ning Tian and Wu Feng, and shook her head helplessly. Young people are really good at playing, and she couldn't help but sigh that she was getting old. The 7 treasures have names, and the second is, Solution. At this moment, a somewhat ashamed and angry voice came, and the treasure light in Ning Tian's hand was flowing, and he actually held a small tower in his hand. As she finished speaking, a ray of yellow light suddenly headed towards Wu Feng. The yellow light penetrated her body. Wu Feng's body shook slightly, and he looked around blankly. He murmured, "Hey, why am I here? Wasn't I in a duel? What was that just now?" "Young master, don't leave." A fiery red figure rushed towards Ning Tian in an instant, lying on her body and sobbing slightly. Ning Tian's face turned green and white, and changed several times in the blink of an eye. He wanted to scold Wu Feng, but he couldn't bear it, so he simply waited for Wu Feng to stop crying. "Young master, you didn't leave." Wu Feng raised his head and opened his eyes that were a little red and swollen from crying. "Why go? You fell into a trap. You were controlled by Hanyu." And then Ning Tian's angry voice came, and then he told Wu Feng what happened just now. "Huh? You evil bastard, the teacher didn't even tell me to start, but you actually made a sneak attack." Understanding that what just happened was not true, Wu Feng spoke louder, pointed at Hanyu and cursed angrily. "A war never tires of deceit. If you are not convinced, I don't mind letting you experience the scene just now again, but I think you won't be willing." Hanyu blinked his big bright eyes and reminded. "You. Okay, Sister Feng, stop making trouble. You have to remember that we are just sisters." Ning Tian's warning voice sounded. "Yes, I understand, young master." A trace of sadness flashed in Wu Feng's eyes. She also knew that her idea was a bit unethical, but she couldn't help it, she just liked it. "Okay, it's all over. You just want to watch the excitement and don't train anymore. If you are eliminated in the assessment in 3 months, I will see what you will do." "I got it, Teacher Mu, we're going to train now." The surrounding students dispersed in a hurry. "Fat man, glasses, you two are still looking at it, go to training quickly. Are you looking for trouble?" Mu Jin looked at the 2 naughty students in front of him and said angrily. Everyone else had left, but these 2 guys were still looking over at them quietly, thinking that he, the sole emperor, was just a show-off. Hanyu looked at Hibiscus mingling with the students and was slightly impressed. Recalling a certain old woman wearing a mask, he liked Hibiscus better between the 2. It is good for teachers to be strict, but if they are too strict, they will eventually crush the students. After all, not everyone is a stress freak like Huo Yuhao. Then Hanyu came to what Mu Jin named Soul Guidance Bag and looked at the familiar appearance with complicated eyes. Take a deep breath and punch out suddenly. Bang, bang, bang. A series of muffled sounds rang out. It's really, unexpectedly useful. Hanyu found that this thing called Soul Guide Bag did not even have a crack under his full-strength bombardment, and was slightly surprised. When he punched out, ripples appeared on the surface of the Soul Guide Bag, and then most of his strength was removed. It should be made of the fur of some unknown soul beast. It can actually absorb my power, but no matter how much you can absorb, there is a limit. Let me see where your limit is. Bang, bang, bang. A series of muffled sounds continued to ring out, and fists like a storm kept falling on the Soul Guide Bag, and ripples continued to emerge. After a while, whoosh. Awesome. Hanyu gently exhaled a breath of turbid air, looked at the Soul Guide Bag in front of him that had not changed at all, and slowly uttered 2 words. At this moment, Mu Jin slowly walked over. "Student Hanyu, do you want to learn soul guides?" Mu Jin's face was complicated, and then she gritted her teeth, as if she had made up her mind. "Soul guide? Teacher Mu, you may not know that Zhou Yi, the head teacher of the class I injured, is married to a soul guide. Even if I want to learn, I'm afraid they won't accept me." Hanyu looked at Mujin in surprise, not knowing why she suddenly asked him if he was willing to learn soul guides.